John Sarton here with the Rio Grande Jewelry Tech team. Today I'm here to talk about the HyCeram system. HyCeram system is a really great way of adding durable, highly saturated colors to your jewelry pieces. Cool thing about the HyCeram system is it really doesn't take the high learning curve that, say, vitreous enameling does. Another really great thing about the system is the colors do not yellow over time. So as with resins, if you've ever worked with resins, you know that those colors yellow over time. It's really prevalent in white colors. You do need some equipment for the process, and this is the equipment that you need. I'm just going to do just tell you quickly about them. I'm not going to go in depth. We'll go in depth during the process video itself. So the digital dispenser, digital dispenser is the way that you actually apply your colors to your pieces. There is a blue light, this is a blue UV curing light. This is for a specific purpose, and you do need a blue UV curing light. The curing chamber, this is a pressure vessel and heat, and it uses a thermal liquid. So you'll need that. There are several different, there's a couple different trays to actually attach your pieces to during curing. There's actually one in here right now that I'm curing a bracelet that I'm doing. So I can't show it to you right now, but we'll show it to you later on in the video. This is a preheater that will help to lower your viscosities of your color so that you can get into little tighter designs. There is two really important items. There's the link and the bond. The link is a primer, basically. It's a cleaner, and the bond is the intermediary between your metal and the color itself. Okay, there are, you're going to need tips for the digital dispenser, which are right here. There are different size tips, 0.4, 0.6, and 1 millimeter. And then you're going to want to get your colors. And again, I'll go more in depth on colors in the video, but we do have many different colors. These colors can actually be mixed, and you can create custom colors, but we'll talk more about that later on. And that is pretty much the extent of what you're going to need for applying HyCeram to your pieces. The other item that we're not showing you is you need a bead blaster, and we'll talk more about that later on as we are applying some color to pieces. But that is the HyCeram system. So let's go ahead and put some on some jewelry. So let's talk about the pieces that you're going to be applying the HyCeram to. HyCeram really likes a good mechanical bond with the piece, rather than just a bond, an adhesive bond. So you can see that this piece is actually designed to accept the HyCeram. The HyCeram, whenever it's put into this ring, is going to wrap around those bars, and it's going to provide a secure permanent hold to the piece. So you should really think about that while you're designing pieces for HyCeram. Okay, so let's go ahead and apply HyCeram to this signet ring. So the signet ring was actually created with a undercut. It's about a 3-degree undercut, and this is going to provide the mechanical hold instead of the bars like you saw in the previous ring. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to take it to the sand blaster or the bead blaster, and we're going to bead blast it with a good corundum media. That's the first step of the process. You want to get a grit. And then it's going to go into the ultrasonic and be cleaned off really well. Now, from this point on, everything needs to be as sterile as you can possibly get it. Okay, well, the ring is cleaning. Let's talk about viscosities. HyCeram comes in a medium viscosity. Medium viscosity is used for flat surfaces like this pendant that's going to be cured flat. And HyCeram also comes in a high viscosity, and the high viscosity is what you're going to be using for rounded objects like this ring. The ring is going to have to be cured on a post since it can't lay flat on the curing tray. However, the high viscosity is very thick and it needs to be heated to come out of the syringe, so we're going to place that into the preheater. For storage, we do recommend that you keep your HyCeram in a refrigerator. So whenever you get ready to use it, you want to go ahead and pull it out and place it into the preheater for about 30 minutes, and that'll bring it up to workable temperature. You don't want to keep the HyCeram all the time in the preheater because it can actually cure your HyCeram if it's kept at 60 degrees Celsius for too long. Okay, so we've got our color. It's in the preheater getting warmed up. I'm going to go ahead and put my ring onto the ring holder. Makes it a lot easier to hold the ring while I'm actually applying the HyCeram. And we're going to start off with the link. The link is a primer. It helps to clean the surface further, even further beyond what the ultrasonic did. And it really needs to have a really good clean surface for the HyCeram, and actually the next step, which is the applying the bond to adhere to. The bond is an intermediary between the metal and the HyCeram. HyCeram will not stick, like I mentioned earlier, it will not stick directly to metal, so it needs this intermediary material. So I'm just going to screw on a syringe tip here, and then I'm going to apply the bond to the surface. You don't need to put a lot onto the surface, just a few drops. I'm going to just put down like 4 drops here, and then I'm going to take a really sterile micro brush, and I'm going to spread that bond out. Remember, you want to make sure that anywhere that the HyCeram is going to be adhered to has to have a coating of the bond. So the next step is to cure that bond. So you need to make sure you put on some UV curing glasses, and we're going to use the Twin Lux blue light curing gun. Now, this has a timer feature, so if you squeeze the trigger once, a light's going to flash on the top of the gun, and this is a 30-second timer. You really want to cure 30 seconds per side, and since this ring, technically the curing area has 5 sides, it has a floor and then 4 sides. You're going to want to cure this for approximately 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So the next thing you need to do is a scratch test, and this is to tell if you have enough bond on the surface. If you do, then whenever you run a scribe over it, it's going to be smooth. All the rough surface from the bead blasting will be gone. The byproduct of curing that resin is actually an oily residue, and that needs to be removed before HyCeram is applied to the surface. So I'm going to use a foam roller here and try to get as much of that that I can get off. Now you're ready to apply color. So I've got the color from the preheater, and I'm going to attach it to the digital dispenser. The digital dispenser is attached to a air compressor, which you're going to need, and you're going to want to set it to about 4 bars. It just depends on what you are doing. The smaller tips are going to require higher bars, but this is going to be a pretty good flow for what I'm doing here. I'm going to use the largest tip, the 1mm tip, because this is a big area that I need to cover and I don't have to get into really tight spots. So I'm going to attach the tip and start applying. You want to start off by applying around the outside of the piece and up the sidewalls, and then you're going to start to fill in the center. You really want to make sure that you keep the tip in the HyCeram at all times. You don't want to pull it out and then re-enter your tip. That's only going to interject bubbles, and the HyCeram is actually vacuum packed in these syringes, so if you apply it correctly, you're going to reduce bubbles almost to 0. So you just need to take that into account. Keep the tip always in your HyCeram, and you want to always overfill any of your design that you're going to be applying this to, because you're going to grind it back to flat. Now it's time to cure your HyCeram, and we're going to do that in the Cerapower curing oven. You should go ahead and have this preheated. It takes about an hour to get up to temperature, and you want your thermal liquid to be heated to 120 degrees Celsius. You also want to go ahead and attach this to a air compressor, because this is a heat and pressure curing. So now it's time to cure the item. So I'm going to place all my items on my curing tree. You can see why I used the high viscosity for the ring that I just did, because if I had used the medium viscosity, it would be running out right now. Slowly lower it down into the curing chamber and do a slight twisting motion. This helps to prevent bubbles from actually settling on the surface as you're lowering it down into the oven. Now, be really careful here, because this is the thermal liquid is hot. It's about 120 degrees right now Celsius. So be very careful. Okay, so now we're going to set the time. So you want to push the button once, and it's going to light an LED next to the time area. It's going to start flashing, and now you can go ahead and set your time. You want to set it to 60 minutes. That's the time of the cure. Once you have your clock set to 60 minutes, then you're going to push the button again, and you're going to see your gauge raise. And it should be right about 4 bars is where you need to make sure that you're curing at. The lid will lock, and you won't be able to open it up, and curing's taking place now. After that curing time, the machine will automatically depressurize and start to cool down. It's going to take about an hour before you can actually open the lid. Now you can pull your pieces out. I like using just a bucket, clean bucket that I can actually set this down into before I take it and rinse it off at the faucet. So now that the HyCeram is cured, you can actually treat it like stone. So you can grind it, you can shape it, and you can polish it. And for the compounds, I really like the Mirard Extreme compounds that are designed for ceramic material, as well as pairing it with the compatible Luxor buffs. HyCeram can also be mass finished using conventional mass finishing techniques. It can also be milled using carbide cutters, and then those milled areas, they can be refilled with HyCeram, recured, cut back, and polished. Okay, and that's how you apply HyCeram. Here is the finished ring, the one that you saw being worked on throughout the video. And through this video, we talked about the equipment. We showed you the process. We showed you some extra things you can do with HyCeram. There's a lot of things that you can do with HyCeram, and we've got more videos in the queue. So keep an eye out for that. I hope this video has been helpful for you, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate, give us a call.